All right, guys. How are we feeling about this Henry Cavill, James Gunn Superman stuff? Um okay. So, um I'm going to be honest. Wait, let me check out something. Okay. I'm going to be honest. Um I mean, I guess it's hard to separate the actor from the film sometimes. Um I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday about Spider-Man, and she made me kind of reconsider um, who the best Spider-Man is, because for me, the answer has obviously always been Tobey Maguire. But we were talking about this, and I feel like I've considered who the actual best actor for Spider-Man is, and I feel like I even then I would still say it's Tobey Maguire. But she was like, I mean, she just made me kind of second guess it. She was like, are you sure that it's not just that you like the movies more, that the movies are better? Because the Tobey Maguire movies, or the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, are definitely like the best. Like, there's no question. But if you really search deep inside yourself, is Tobey Maguire actually the best Spider-Man? Or is it Andrew Garfield? And at the time, I defended Tobey Maguire as the best Spider-Man. It's something I might still stand by, but I don't know. That was yesterday. Today I've had some time to really mull it over, and I'm not so sure. I'm Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man. And if you put Andrew Garfield in the Sam Raimi movies, I don't know. It's just so tough. It's so tough. Cuz I mean, maybe Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man. I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't It's just really tough. And so this is all preamble to say I was never very attached to Henry Cavill as Superman. I liked him in the role, but I don't know how much. Yeah, I don't know how much of that was, Zack Snyder making these Superman movies, or if it was, Henry Cavill's actual performance. Because it could be. I mean, and granted, it's been a while since I've seen any of the movies with him. I saw Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. I never saw either version of Justice League. At that point, I did not give a shit. And I saw Black Adam recently, so I did see him pop up for like 2 seconds. And so I don't know. Yeah, so all that to say, I never was really super invested in him as Superman. But a couple more things to take into account with that, besides just like not knowing if it's the filmmaker or the actor, is I also just don't care about Superman. I never have. He's always been one of my least favorite comic book characters. He's grown on me as I've become an adult, because I think with Superman comes a lot of like really cool, interesting questions as to like somebody with like godlike powers. But I feel like those questions aren't really explored in Superman movies and are more explored in stuff like Invincible or The Boys. So even then, Superman's most interesting ideas are already being done in like other media. Um, so yeah, just kind of Superman on his own. I've just kind of always thought he was just like a very uninteresting character, very Boy Scouty. I already don't super gravitate to that. And just like very, very overpowered. But like I said, he's grown on me a little bit. I can dig a Superman story. It's not like I'm gonna hate it coming out the gate. It's just, it's harder for me to maintain interest in this character. So James Gunn is writing a new Superman film. Henry Cavill will not return, but I had to play a different DC character. I have no idea who he's gonna play. I don't know the DC universe that well. I grew up reading Marvel comic books, watching Marvel shows and movies and stuff. So, obviously I know like Batman. He's one of my favorite characters. I know some of the other DC characters, but yeah, I didn't grow up with it like I did Marvel. I had a really badass comic book though, where it was the DC versus Marvel. I thought that was so fun. That was such a good little series. Anyways, yeah. So I think having James Gunn write a Superman film sounds really cool. I mean, he's definitely one of the best voices in the superhero genre, if not the best working right now, besides Sam Raimi. But which I like the second Doctor Strange. I thought it was pretty good. It's not nearly as good as any of his Spider-Man movies. But I will say that's probably more of an MCU problem and not a Sam Raimi problem. Like, all of the most interesting shit that happened in that movie is a result of him as a director. So, but yeah, no, James Gunn clearly has the best Marvel films. Guardians of the Galaxy is easily the best series at Marvel. And then he had, I thought that his Suicide Squad was very, very good. I thought it was hilarious. Very fun. Loved all the performances. Hell yeah. Okay, so he's writing the new Superman film. Doesn't look like he's directing it, or at least hasn't been announced that he's directing it. Which I'm super cool with. I mean, James Gunn seems like a really, he seems like a cool guy. He makes good movies. And what I like about him is I think he has the right ideas of like what to reference. Or like what to use as a reference point for a character, So whereas like with like Suicide Squad, I like that he understood, where David Ayer's movie was like, these are villains, so it's gonna be all like hot topic and edgy, and like they're evil, and the whole marketing was and the film was about them being just like bad guys and super I like that James Gunn came into his Suicide Squad with the understanding that these dudes are fucking losers. Like they're losers, nobody likes them, and they just kind of suck. They're all weirdos, they have weird powers, and that was a good point to come into the film with, and I felt like he really understood those characters for that reason. Same thing with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I feel like maybe whereas like Zack Snyder pushed a lot of like this like deep god shit onto Superman because he just wanted to, Zack Snyder likes to explore these things in his films. He wants to make deep looking movies. I like Zack Snyder. It's just but I felt like he was more fitting Superman into his thing, whereas I feel like James Gunn is going to approach it. And also I will say Zack Snyder, he does already make dark movies, but if we're coming at it from 2013 context, Man of Steel was the first DC movie, I'm pretty sure, to follow up The Dark Knight Rises. And so we're coming off hot of Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. And I think he was a producer on Man of Steel. And like that was the big drawing point of the DC universe, I'm pretty sure, right? Was that Christopher Nolan was a producer, and that these were going to be the when it first came out, the DC universe was supposed to be like the darker alternative to Marvel. And so going into Zack Snyder's movies, I also understand that he also probably had some sort of thing where he was supposed to make a more realistic, grounded, dark version of Superman. And I also just don't know if that fits the character either. Whereas I think James Gunn is going to pull from a more comic booky, more fun and weird place for Superman, which I think is probably where the character needs to go at this point. I think he needs to get a little bit more fun, a little bit more weird. He should be battling like big aliens or something. I don't know any of Superman's villains or anything, so but he's just definitely like that kind of character, and I think James Gunn will come in with that understanding. So I'm excited about that. Henry Cavill not returning. I actually would have been, I would have been fine with him coming back to a James Gunn written Superman. But I'm also totally okay with him not coming back. I am personally just not super invested. But yeah, I mean, Henry Cavill's gonna be okay. He's got. Oh wait, no, he's not doing The Witcher anymore, is he? Oh fuck, what's he gonna do now? You know what? I think I see something earlier where he was attached to a Warhammer thing. Maybe, I don't know. That might have been fake news. I don't know, but that's possible. He could be doing that. So Henry Cavill's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. And I'm sure whoever the next Superman will be is gonna be awesome. Now, who is Henry Cavill eyed to play in an upcoming DC project? I don't know. Okay, let's read a little bit of this article. Will not return as the hero. Peter and I have the DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year. Okay. Our story will be focusing on the earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. But we just had a great meeting with Henry, and we're big fans, and we talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. Sources close to DC told Variety that Gunn, his co-president Peter Safran, and Cavill met recently and are all energized to find something in the comic book universe for Cavill to tackle. He confirmed, sad news everyone, after all, I will not be returning as Superman after being told by the studio to announce my return back in October prior to their hire. This news isn't the easiest, but that's life. I respect that James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. Man, this really fucking sucks. I will say that is super lame that, yeah, he was announcing his return with Black Adam and stuff, and then just 2 months later he has to announce that he's not doing it. I guess that didn't really sink in until now. That is super fucking lame. Although I understand everybody here is in a tough position because Warner Brothers are just being little bitches right now with everything that they're doing. Nothing is going right over there. They're a complete mess right now with like the HBO Max shit. Yeah, they're kind of just pissing everybody off, which they should stop doing. I feel like everything was working. You know what? You know what was okay before? Everything just being a little unorganized. Not everything needs to be part of the same universe. Okay, I'm gonna go on a little rant about this real quick because this is what I'm talking about, right? Fucking yeah, not everything needs to be in the same universe. Marvel is already doing that, and people are getting burnt out on Marvel doing that. Like, people are getting burnt out on everything being connected in Marvel because they have to follow all these stupid fucking TV shows. I have not seen a single one. I've seen 2 episodes of WandaVision. That's it. Because it's just so much. It's like, that's so much content to have to consume to keep up with something. But also, the Marvel tone, like when I say that, like, earlier when I was reviewing Avatar, when I say this like MCU winking tone or whatever, everybody immediately knows what I'm talking about because every Marvel movie has generally the same tone, and it gets so bland and stale after a while because like every movie has to fit into the same universe. Like you can't have, all these, 5 movies with wildly different tones all come together in one movie and it feel natural. So at the end of the day, everything has to be very samey, and then it just all ends up feeling like that. It ends up feeling very samey and boring. And so yeah, and it's so like predictable, and there's so many tropes now that come with the Marvel things. Like people can make parody videos and like, classic jokes and like Marvel movies, just like riffing on the whole formula. I don't know. So the idea that DC needed to, I actually think it's like really cool what they've been doing. Let Aquaman be this like crazy over the top comic book, thing. Have Joker be a weird Oscar thing or whatever, right? And I didn't even really like Joker that much. I mean, I thought it was fine. But yeah, like it's okay to, I actually, you know what? I loved the Batman. I loved the Batman. I loved the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, and even though those both star Margot Robbie, it doesn't even really feel like they're in the same universe. But like, I'm totally okay with all of that shit just existing on its own. Like, Birds of Prey is so different from the Batman, which is so different from Joker, but it's really cool because you're allowing all these filmmakers, these crazy cool filmmakers like Kathy Yan, like Matt Reeves, like yeah, to make their films, their interpretation of the characters. It'd be like really really cool if we could get something like that with like Captain America or Thor. I mean, we kind of got it with Thor. Kenneth Branagh and Taika Waititi are like very different filmmakers, but you know what I mean. So like it would be very very cool to like see how different filmmakers interpret each of these comic book characters, and I wish that DC would just let that happen. Just let yourself be a little disorganized. It's okay. We all still love you. Think about the disorganized person in your life. It's not like you fucking hate them. The organized person in your life can sometimes be a little boring, and not as exciting. So I don't know. Maybe think about that. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. That was my little rant. Gunn has been at work on the new Superman story for some time. Insiders say the script will focus on character's life as a cub reporter in the fictional city of Metropolis. As a cub reporter, that's interesting. Audiences will encounter him meeting key characters like colleague Lois Lane. Insiders added. Yeah, okay. See, I like this because it feels way more comic booky. Like, I don't know. I feel like I have a feeling that Metropolis is gonna feel like way cooler in this Superman and way more comic booky. I wonder how young they're gonna go with the character. How much? I wonder who would be a good Superman. It would be like fucking. I feel it would be like Jacob Elordi or like fucking Austin Butler or some shit, right? Like if they're going young, maybe they might go younger. I don't know. Isn't the only star from the last DC era to sit down with Gunn and Safran. Ben Affleck, who has played Batman in numerous films from the label, recently met with the pair to specifically discuss the prospect of directing an upcoming DC feature. Individuals familiar with those talks said. Yeah. Oh, and then Patty Jenkins doesn't have her new Wonder Woman movie. Yeah, I mean, what her last Wonder Woman movie didn't do too well. I didn't see that one. I didn't hear great things about it. Even though I was so bummed because I fucking love Kristen Wiig and she was playing a villain and I thought that sounded so fun. I still watch it for her at some point probably. But I am bummed to hear that it didn't do too well. That'd be interesting about Ben Affleck directing a superhero movie. Be cool though if he's like not acting in it. I don't know, to see more shit by him where he's not like starring. Okay, yeah. I think I've given all my thoughts with Henry Cavill, James Gunn shit. I think we've had some good discussions here. So yeah.